Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. I knew this was going to happen, and it's happening. As we move along, we will pick up stuff on this little lathe that will be giving us some issues and that we need to address. One being is the other night I was playing around here, and suddenly the compound stopped working. It feels like there's something stripped out here somewhere. So let's take it apart and see what we can find out. Okay. We'll have to look at this as well. There's, I won't say pudding, but there's definitely something that needs to happen. Yeah. Quickly take a little file. Doesn't look too bad. But we'll have a look at it once we've got through all of this. Might be putting a little bit of a wire wheel or something to it. Next up, I'm going to loosen the compound slide, and now it does, sort of. We'll figure out what's happening here. Yep. Okay, this doesn't look in too bad a shape. Still shows the grinding on it, so it doesn't look like it's worked too much in its life. Not entirely sure what's happening here. There you can see there's some filling in the thread. I'm not sure if that's where something went wrong or what's happened here, but we'll get to that. I'm just quickly going to run through and we'll clean this thread up, take it out, and try and take up some of this slop here as well. This is the part that we're actually going to need. I think this looks like straight 8mm thread, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have a look. Gents, I'll be making new washers and stuff for the tool post as well. We'll get to everything eventually, and I'll show you most of it. Well, as much as I can of it I'll be showing you guys. Let's get it off here and onto the table and see what's happening there. Okay, on the workbench here I've got a piece of, what do they call this stuff? Somehow the polyurethane floor tile type thing, rubber floor tile that they use in the workshops and stuff. I've got some in my office as well. I think this was actually a piece of offcut from my office, so it prevents everything when you've got something falling and doesn't mar anything. But I digress. So we've got the bottom section of the tool post that the thread's supposed to be in. I can't really see anything in there. I see there's a lot of muck and stuff and stuff in there, but I think what we will do is we will try and unscrew this portion and see what we can get to if there's a nut inside here. I hope that this pin, might have to take off this back plate. Let's quickly do that and see if the pin goes right through it. We'll be able to get it out. 5mm X key. There we go. Yes, exactly what I was thinking. Okay, so it looks to me like that pin goes through, and that will then be holding a, let's take this off as well, clean all of this up. So, but it looks like that pin goes through and probably holds on a brass nut of some sort. I'm going to take this off and then see what we can see. Now I need something that'll fit in there. We can use as a sort of a... Okay, I've got a little piece of steel that will fit in there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it to size and well, grind out the little notch in there, and then we'll use that as a screwdriver, and we can put a crescent wrench on it. I'm just going to mark out approximately how much I'm going to need. This will be a bit of a back and forth. I'm going to quickly cut this thing out, and I'll get you back when I'm done. Let's see if we can... Oh, this is actually unscrewing very easy. I'll hold you a bit on an angle so you guys can see what's happening there. A lot of gunk and muck in here from probably the last time they put this lathe together. I don't think this thing has ever been open. You guys ever think about working on old kit like that? This was probably put together somewhere in 60 something, 50, yeah, probably 50 something. And never been apart since. I hope I'm not messing this up now. I don't feel like something binding as such. I think it's just never been opened. I don't know how long this. Okay, so there's the little nut. Yeah, piece of cloth and clean it out and see what's happening here. Okay, so this nut has got no thread in it, so this was just a sort of a keeper for the actual nut that sits right in there. It looks like it's stripped out. I am going to see if I can knock out the little pin. Okay, so I knocked out the pin with a brass screw. Just came out fairly easy. I'm just going to chuck that there, put that there. Now we need to see if we can push out the threaded section. I don't know if that's going to be as easy as I was hoping it would be. Okay, I've got a piece of stainless steel rod here. Just going to lightly tap it at the back. Okay, feels like it's moving. Yes, definitely. Okay, so what I'm doing is I am jamming this piece of steel rod against the side of the threaded section and just tapping it out. Oh, and it's not steel, it's nylon. That's why. There we go. Okay, so this is a part there. I don't know if you can pick it up, but there's a part that's stripped out. A little nylon bushing over there. I mashed it up now when I hammered it out, but this is the part that we will need to make again. I'm going to now, problem is we can definitely make this, and I think I'm going to make it out of brass this time. Don't know why it would be a polymer. Honestly, I don't know why it would be a polymer. It's going to be approximately a 14 OD by 16 long, 15 long, 14 OD by 15 millimeters. That will drill out when we're done and just bore it and thread it. Now the question is, what size thread is this going to be? Standard M8 thread. Okay, so I grabbed one of the T-nuts out of the cross slide. That's closest M8 that I could get, and low and beer hold. It's a standard 8mm thread. So everything on this little lathe is metric except for the gear cut. Gear cutting is in standard. So we'll definitely be making this little part. But now the question is, how are we going to manage that? Because now we haven't got a tool post. Well, we might not have a tool post, but we can get close. I think what I am going to do is I am going to put the tool post together without this, lock it in place, and then we can make the little part, because we won't be using the compound slide, we will just be using our normal cross slide. So I'm going to put everything back together, and I'll get you done back at the machine. Okay, gents, this is where a 2-minute job turns into an absolute nightmare. As I was just tightening this little grub screw on the end of on the side of the compound, we broke it off in the compound, and this is where we start swearing and turning off the audio on a YouTube video. I'm gonna leave this for a while, think about it, and get back to you guys when we start taking it out. So like I said, this just turned into this went from an easy fix into an absolute nightmare, possibly an absolute nightmare. I am hoping the fact that this was already loose makes it that we can drive it out with a punch and don't need to bore it out. Ah! this thing is so small. I've got a carbide scribe here. I'm just lightly gonna tap it and see if it'll turn out. No. Gentlemen, I think we are lucky. Just get it to a point where I can grab it. Here we go. Lucky we got it out. I'll be next time I'm out in town, I'll just get a new little grub screw for there. Whoa, this was a close one. Okay, so we've got it out. We've got our compound in and set. And now I must just look for a piece of material that we can use. Alright, gentlemen, as you can see, the original part was just on 15 millimeters with an OD of exactly 14. We'll work to 14. And then straight up M8 thread. Now I know I am as lucky as can be, due to the fact that normally your compound and stuff has got some other weird left hand thread. This is standard M8. It's not Acme, it's not left hand, standard. So we'll be replicating this onto this little piece here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck this up and start turning it down. So let me get you by the lathe and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so I put the compound back on the cross slide. As you can see, it's still not working. There's the little nut that we're making. I just locked up the cross slide on the ways, so we can start machining. Okay, so I've chucked up the little piece of brass. I haven't got much to work with because we need to fit that in there somewhere. I've got a 6.5 millimeter drill in here. It actually should be a 6.8 for the M8 thread. Drill tap size is 6.8. But I think because we're working on the brass, I think we can make it work. Okay, so firstly I am going to drill the hole through, tap it, and then cut the OD so that all of that is in is concentric and in line with each other, and then we'll take it from there. Once I've got it machined up to that point, then we'll either hack it off and turn it around, or turn it around and turn it off, whichever the case is going to be the easiest. So, but first let's get the hole drilled. Now, as you saw, there's a piece on the front end that's still 7 diameter from a previous job. I'm going to leave that as that, and hopefully that helps us to sort of line it up and get it all aligned. I'm going to get the taps out and let's start tapping. Okay, I am going to start the tap on this side and just follow it up with the live center, and let's see what we can do here. Looks like something's happening. Okay, next up I'm gonna face off the end up to where the thread starts, and then we'll measure the I think it's 14 millimeters. Let's check. Just on 15, so we'll gun it for 15. It's actually 15.1 on this side, but I don't know how much of the stretched. So then we'll cut the 15, but first off, let's get the front face sorted out. About a 5 thou cut, and let's see what happens. Okay, the finish on this tool looks actually surprisingly good. Let's see where we're at. 15, 16, 17, 18 point, let's call it 18.3. 18.3 millimeters. Sorry for the little man in the background, he's working on his own stuff here. So in total I need to take a 56 thousandths cut. So let's go to 45 and see what we can get to. Okay, so if my math's correct, that was 20 thou taken off, so we should be creeping up onto it. We are sitting on the right on 15, so we need to take off 1 millimeter. Okay, we are on 14.72. I'm going to get the mic out to make sure that I'm right here. 14.5, 672, 14.72. 9 thou. I'm going to gun the 9 thou and see what we get to. Okay, somewhere something's leaning in here. Well, I'm not doing the math right. Sorry, gents, my camera arm, extension arm is right where I need to be working. So I'll get something better to work here. .12, 1.6 thou off. That's so close, so close. Okay, gents, I don't know if you can see there, but I am, according to this micrometer, 400ths of a millimeter off. 400ths is like half a thou. So I'm half a thou out. I think that is, Vernier says the same. 400ths off. I think this is as good as I'll ever get it. Don't think the tolerance is that tight. I am going to see how far I am from the threads. Maybe cut it down a little bit, but I don't think I've got a lot to go. And then we'll swap it around and cut the other end off. Half a millimeter to go. Sorry about this seasickness, I will definitely sort this out. This is as close as we need to be. I'll properly measure it once we've got it out. But it's not that critical because we've got that threaded insert on the end. So I'm just going to chamfer this edge and then we're done with this part. Okay, gents, I've taken the compound off the machine again. There is some backlash in the lead screw. It doesn't seem too bad. I think I'm going to leave it as that. I tried to get these two nuts off, but I'm battling. So what I'll have to do is knock out the handle, and take it out, and then I can put it in the vise. So I'm not going to do that right now. I just wanted to see if all of this gets together again. I haven't checked it. I've just cleaned up the threads a little bit. Cleaned out this part with brake box cleaner. Like I said, I haven't checked the fit yet, so here we go. I drop this one in here, and it seems like it's just why is it not fitting? The thing is right on 15.1, 14.1, 14.1. It should actually go in. Let's try again. Ah! Maybe I'm just... Well, before we do that, let's first check if the thread form fits. Like a glove. This one is getting stuck a bit, yeah? I think I'll just run the tap over it quickly again. Let's try the other end. I think I might have pinched this last little thread. Let's see. Well, there we go. This thread is actually quite tight in here, and it seems like it's working. I'm not really just holding on to it, I'm not clamping down on it, and it's going. So just got a nice tight thread here with basically no play on it. It'll work in. Look, it's brass on steel, so, or steel on brass, so it'll sort it itself out. So I'm happy with that one, completely happy with that one. Now we have to get it in here. And thread this bolt in and try and use that as alignment. Let's see if we can tap it in. Okay, it's going. This is a massively tight fit. Here we go. I think the threads are there. just a little bit sticky. Okay, that's enough. I think the rest I'll pull down with the thread of the little nut. Come on. Like a glove. I'm just gonna get that wipe off a little bit. And the threads go. So now we can put back the little keeper. Guys, get yourself one of these little Knipex, what do they call it? It's like a slip joint slash vice grips. They call it something like an adjusting plier or something like that. For work that you don't have to really hang on to it, this thing works a job. Pay an arm and a dick for it, but nonetheless. There we go. Sorry for the little man in the background. I am going to put this together and take it apart again. I want to see how the fit is of the lead screw on the nut. But we'll have to take it out again to drill the little hole, and that I'm going to do on the mill in the machine. So let's see. Like a glove. Like I said, the thread's still a bit stiff, but nonetheless, there is. The only backlash that I've got on this is in the dial itself. So that will do as a next project. I first want to get this thing going, and there the thread is seated. So now we are, like I said, the backlash in the thread itself is absolutely, there's a little bit, but it's actually minimum. I can't feel it. I think the bonus we had was when I cut the when I drilled the hole into the brass with a 1 size too small drill bit. I think we actually underformed the thread, and that helped to get sort of play out. So the only backlash is in the dial itself. Now I don't want to get that too tight either. So I think for now we'll be okay. Look, the backlash is only an issue if you're working on the wrong side of it. But you're always pushing the tool in, so the backlash should be taken up. So, and all machines everywhere in the world has got some sort of backlash in it. Well, machines of this style and grade in any case. Okay, so to get this pin in here, we now have to drill through the brass, but I'm going to do that in the machine itself. I'm going to fit the bottom end of the tool post back onto the machine, get it lined up, and then this is a, what size is this thing? I'll have to check if I've got a little drill bit for it. 4mm pin, so we'll be drilling it out 4mm and then knocking this one back in. I don't think I've got a 4mm drill bit. Let me quickly check. Okay, we'll have quickly, me and the little man's quickly going to the shop, getting a couple of drill bits, and then we'll be back at the lathe. Okay gentlemen, we're back at the lathe. I've reinstalled the bottom portion of the tool post. This is where we need to drill the little hole. I have, looks like I've got it fairly as close as I'll be in all the directions. What I'm looking for is when I'm pushing in the little drill bit into the existing hole, I'm trying to see if it deflects at all. It doesn't look like it. It looks fairly good. I'm just watching on the edge where the drill bit enters on all sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill it through and see what we can get to. I'm just going to pick at it until we get through. Okay, somewhere I took out a little bit of the bottom portion. I think I might have drilled it through. Nonetheless, what I'm going to do is now I have to take it off again and make sure that there's no shavings in the bottom end or stuck in the bottom end before we put in the little pin. So let's go back to the bench. Okay, first up I'm just going to chuck it over. See, there's the amount of stuff that already came out of there. So let's open it up and see what's inside. I think I've probably smashed out most of it now, so nonetheless we had to take it off and take it apart. Make sure that it's clean and ready. There we go. Looks like we smashed it out the first time, but if I left it in there, it would probably have been a mess. So all that's left to do now is put back this little pin. Now the upside downside is I can see, luckily I can see where I put the screw in and hammered on it to get it out, so I know that'll be the bottom one. And then I'm just going to take my little hammer and knock it in till it's flush. And there we have it. This one I think is done. Let's see if it still fits onto there. If it still turns. 100%. I'm gonna have to have a look at this back end, but that we'll leave for another episode. But I think for now this is actually working like a charm. Let's get this whole thing back together again. But before we do that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some 1000 grit emery sanding paper or emery cloth or something and just polish this edge up a bit so that we can read the angle that's on here. But better clean up some of it. I might even take a little wire brush. I think that might be a better idea. Now, if you take a wire brush, you're going to take the wire brush is going to go into the markings, and we don't want that. So let's quickly polish it up. Okay, so since I can remember, there was 2 lock washers on these bolts. Yeah, locking washers, and they've pretty much galled up the surface here. So we'll put in, what we'll do is we'll make some decent washers to fit on there. That looks much better. And now I'm just going to use a little bit of an oily rag to just wipe it off, and that'll keep the rust away as well. I don't want to get this thing looking like new, but I think that's much better for what we want to do with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some oil on these surfaces. I won't be seeing these surfaces anytime soon, so any rust and corrosion that can take place in here, I want to try and prevent as far as possible. I'd rather in 10 years time sit with sticky oil than rust. Well, once again, this oil won't polymerize, so it'll probably stay as it is. I'm just wiping it on with my finger. These 2 faces will mate up hard on each other, so whatever oil's in there will somehow it'll push out, and the rest will just sit there till the next time we open it up, which hopefully won't be anytime soon. Now I just snug them all up in a crisscross pattern, and then we'll tighten them down. Don't go too hard on it. But also, it's probably a torque spec for this, which will probably be the standard torque spec for I-10 style cap screw. There we go. This area we'll lube up fairly often, because we'll be taking it off and putting the dividing head on, but other than that, we're just going to stay as it is for now. What I'm also going to do is put a little bit of oil on this lead screw, just to get it inside the brass insert that we've just turned. Make it last a little bit longer. Oh, this thing is as smooth as butter now. There we go. Let's go back to the lathe. I always keep a oiled rag close by, just to wipe off everything. And as soon as you've done that, you know that there's a thin film of oil still on there. You start putting things back together again. Okay, so there we have it. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to tighten up the ways, because they are still very much not in place. And then we'll be okay. This grub screw I'll replace. I haven't got one. I haven't been able to find one. So that one we will get to. And I'm going to do that off camera. Gentlemen, there we have it. Our compound is fixed again. Hopefully I don't have to work on this thing anytime soon. But we might be taking it off just to get some of the backlash out of the edge here. If I look at it, looks like we're sitting with about 8 thou, which is not bad at all. So for now I think it's enough. We'll work with it and see if we need to do anything more to it. You'll see me always wiping off everything. I am sweating like a dog in this little tin shop, so I tend to sweat onto everything, so I take my oily rag and wipe everything down. But with that, I'm going to call it and say thank you very much if you've made it thus far. Thanks for watching. As always, please rate, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell so that you don't miss anything else. And let's see what we can get up to next. With that, I'm going to say thank you and stay safe.